Hi, this is Steve Walton from Tropic Heating and PatioHeat.com, specializing in sales, service, and designs for the outdoor patio heating industry. Here we have a beautiful Colorado Springs residence, and this is their outdoor deck here. And basically what we have is just a seating area over here. There's an outdoor, I don't know if it's a pool table or a ping pong table, something of that nature that they use, but in any case, we're just going to concentrate on this space here. So let's go ahead and look at the dimensions. Overall dimensions that I have here is about 19 feet wide by, let's see here, 1310. So we'll just call that 14 foot this direction. And you will notice that this is on a slope, this rooftop here. And this is I think this is a steel rooftop here. We do have some wooden beams that go across. The height in the back is I have at 8 foot 1 3/8, and that's the bottom of these 8-inch tall beams or rafters. And this is the front edge here, and that is at 7 foot 9 at the bottom edge of this rafter. All right, so you might notice that I have a couple of the Infratech. These are 6,000 watt units. I have them kind of floating in midair because what we need to do is make sure that we meet all the clearances to combustibles, and the clearances above would be 6 inches. And based on that, we need to make sure that this bottom lowest edge here is meeting that 6 inches of clearance. So you'd have to put like it could be a tubular steel or piece of wood that would allow for a mounting of this mounting bracket, or you could put a piece of steel and then hang a chain down that, so it'd be a smaller, more slimline type of look. The electrical junction box could either be located on this side here or on this side here, just depending on how you flip the unit. It's a little J box. So you can see also that the top edge of, or I should say the edge closest to the home, is further away. So what we have is, I hope I can show this to you. I'm going to take off the clearances. So what we have here is the edge here, the bottom edge, or I should say the high point of the roof. The heater is lower than this point over here, and that's based solely on the fact that we need to maintain this 6-inch clearance on the left and keep the heater level all the way to the right side. Otherwise what will happen is if you put it on a slope, then there's little coils in here, and those coils, as they heat up, they expand, and then you turn them off, they contract, and those coils will gather to one side downhill if they continue to be used on a slope. So, and that'll cause a hot spot, and then eventually arcing and destruction of the element itself. Now I have also placed these essentially in the center of these openings here, and you can see the clearance below, there's no issue, as well as the doorway over here is a sliding door, so that's not an issue. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at the footprint of heat. So we're really concentrating on this space over here. The third one over here is kind of like a I guess a bonus, if you would. If you are going to be using this space for some alternative usage, or you're going to rearrange your seating positions, then I would consider the third unit here. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the dimensions. Actually, I'll turn that back on, I think. Yeah, let me put the dimension of the final height on here for the bottom edge of the heater. So this is just to give us an idea of what that bottom edge would be. So that's 7 foot 9 inches, and I actually wanted to do that on this drawing here for a specific reason. Let me just go ahead and turn that off now. So my concern is that they're in a very cold climate. This is Colorado Springs, and we have a 6,000 watt unit, which is normally made for, you know, a 9-10 foot installation height. and the intensity is kind of really strong, so I would not consider this option unless you were considering a control system for this. You could put in 4,000 watt units in lieu of the 6,000s and then forego the control system. However, in a very cold climate, I'm not accustomed to the Colorado Springs area in any way. I'm a Southern California gentleman that's grown up here all my life. I would think this would be kind of cold without a hotter unit, a 6,000 watt unit. So that's my personal preference, and everyone's going to have their own personal preference. So if you're acclimated to that temperature out there in the colder months, and you think a 4,000 watt unit would be adequate, that would be a determination that you'd have to make on your own. Personally, I would go with a 6,000, a control system, allowing you to dim the system up and down as you see fit. And I would just leave it at that, and then that way you can have your 4,000 versus 6,000 or even a 2,000 output, depending on how you set your dial. All right, so I've placed these units centered within the space that is between this post and the home. You can see that I'm not covering the entire area 100%, and that's because of the fact that number one, the heater is closer to the ground than what's recommended in the manual, but that would be true with a 4,000 watt as well. You won't get that same footprint. And also this is, I think we determined it was around 14 feet roughly, or just under 14 feet. And the maximum you're going to ever get out of a throw on any of the longer Infratech units, unless you have it quite high, would be 12 feet wide. So we do have seating on the right and the seating on the left. You could move these inwards as you see fit. You want to make sure that you're in that ray in order to feel the warmth of that output of the heater. These are infrared light waves, so if you're not in the physical light wave, just like if you were to step from a shadow into the sunlight on a cold day, you would feel warmer from the sun, the infrared light wave of the sun, but the air temperature wouldn't be changing in whatsoever from the shade to the sunlight a few feet away from each other. So, and again, you could remove this one here, and you can have a pretty good footprint of heat like this here. Now, I wouldn't really consider too much placing units on the outside edge and face it, inwards this direction here. Let me turn off the ray for a second. If you were to face a unit this way, I mean, yeah, you could do that, but you're going to still need 2 units to cover this whole space because of the post. And then if you put one on the wall, face it out this way, again, 2 units, because you're just not going to get this whole throw. So that'd be 4 units in this small space here in order to heat it up adequately. So that's why I'm placing the 2 units this direction. You get better coverage, more uniform coverage, and the third one would just be, like I said, a bonus for the space here. All right, I hope this has helped you. If you're looking for some assistance with your outdoor heating application and you'd like us to review and come up with some recommendations, please send your information to designs@patioheat.com. I'm Steve Walton from Tropic Heating and patioheat.com. If this has helped you anyways, we would appreciate if you just hit that thumbs up. We don't monetize, we don't advertise. Now, YouTube is advertising on channels like us, but we're not being paid. And the only way we get our message across is by you being kind enough to hit that like button. So we really appreciate that. All right, well, thank you very much, and you have a terrific day.